Howdy, my name is Nonat, and before we get any deeper in this video, I want to be clear. This video is not a character creation tutorial. If you want that, click this video in that corner, whichever. Also, Ray's back editing again. Say hi, Ray. Okay, that's enough. It's my show. What this is a character creation example. I'm gonna walk you through what is apparently my 9-step process. I say apparently because I didn't know there were 9 steps until I actually put it on paper. But before we get to that, ad time. This video is sponsored by Opera GX. Opera GX is a browser designed specifically with gamers in mind. It offers a wide variety of customization options to tailor your internet experience. Their theme configuration allows you to choose from light and dark mode, as well as set any color scheme you want with their advanced color scales. Alongside the Opera extension store, all Google Chrome extensions are compatible with Opera GX, so you don't have to give up the most useful extensions. Save image as PNG, where would I be without you? All of this is also available right from your phone with the GX mobile app, and you can directly connect this app to the desktop browser. So if that sounds interesting to you, click the link in the description below and download Opera GX today. Upgrade your internet experience. Let's start at the very beginning of character creation, and for me, that is context. What kind of campaign am I going to be playing in? I never want to make a character until I know what kind of game we're going to be playing. I want to know where they come from, where they are, and why they're there before I commit to writing any kind of backstory. I guess I like to know where my character is, and then write the backstory that leads up to that point. It's also important to know, is this campaign lethal? Is there going to be tough, min-max required fights? Or is it going to be casual, where it's going to be a lot more roleplay and just hanging out? Or even if it's not roleplay focused, how much combat and how hard is the combat? You know, I don't need, specifics, but just the GM saying, yeah, I'm gonna be actively trying to murder you is good to know. Also, is anybody going to be playing something similar? I usually like to let my fellow players make their characters first, and then fill in, because, I don't know, I feel like if I make my character first, I'm taking someone else's potential idea, when I've got 1,000 different ideas I'd love to play, and I'm sure I can find one that'll fit the niche that the team needs. Also, sometimes you have to ask yourself, does the context matter? You know, is this just a one-shot where you're playing with friends, you're gonna do some roleplay, do some combat, and never play those characters again? Then I might just make a character I really feel like playing, even if it doesn't mechanically mesh with the party or the story at large. After context is out of the way, it's time to move on to step 2, which is concept. I am a special snowflake. I will not lie. If you know any of my friends who I've played either D&D, Pathfinder, or even video games with, they will tell you right off that I like to be special and I don't like to be similar to other people. If we're playing an RPG, I can't be the same class as somebody. I don't know what it is, it's just I like to be different, both so I can bring something new into the game, but also so that I'm not just doing the same thing as somebody else. I don't know, it's a weird thing with my brain that I've done since I was little. For that reason, I like to make completely unique ideas. I don't look for other, pop culture characters for inspiration. Rather, I like to come up with my own unique character concept and then look for pop culture characters who are similar. That way, I came up with the initial idea, and then I can just borrow ideas from other similar concepts. So if I'm looking to play, a dark, edgy rogue with a utility belt and crafting, maybe I'll look to Batman, or maybe I'll look to Inspector Gadget just for ideas of what I can do with them, not necessarily to copy that character. And at that point, we have the sort of final blurry idea of this character we're going to play, so we move on to step 3, which is my character sheet of choice. You can't make a character without a character sheet, so once we start digging into the mechanics, you need a good one. I have 2 major recommendations. The first one is Wanderer's Guide. If you've watched this channel for a few years, you know I really love Wanderer's Guide, although I will say it can be slow. The server is very limited, and sometimes the load times are a bit rough. If you don't want to deal with rough load times, I can always recommend this character sheet that I got off of Reddit. There are links to both Wanderer's Guide and this character sheet in the description below. Just keep in mind that the character sheet from Reddit is sort of fill out yourself. It's not going to automatically do much for you like Wanderer's Guide does. Step 4, we are actually making a character now mechanically, and so the first choice in the ABCs of Pathfinder character creation is ancestry. Sometimes I'll have one in mind before I even get to this point, but other times I'll need to think of what fits the concept I made back in step 2. Now, once again, I really love weird, unique concepts, so I try to break the mold with some of my character ideas. Kitsune Monk, a Gnome Barbarian, a Human Fighter. I've played 3 human fighters in the last 2 years. I'm not proud. When it comes to picking the heritage of my ancestry, that's 100% flavor first. I never look for power from a heritage. If one fits the flavor but it just feels bad because it gives nothing I want, I won't pick it, but 99 times out of 100, I will pick the heritage that fits where my character came from. When it comes to my ancestry feat, it's similar, but I'm a little more inclined to pick something powerful. You know, kobolds are cool. Even if my kobold is a bit of a tinkerer, I might still pick Kobold Breath just because I love that feat. Step number 5, background. I am going to say something a little controversial that some people are going to say, duh, and other people are going to say, ew. I pick my background entirely off of flavor and what fits my story. I don't care if a wizard needs a high intelligence. If my wizard used to be a bartender, I'm taking the bartender background. I don't care if it gives charisma. That's great. I'll just put intelligence as my free boost, and sure, maybe I don't get to buff my dexterity, so I'm going to have a little bit lower armor class, but I don't care. It's what my character was, so it's what my character is. Step 6, the big one, is picking my class. Now, usually this is an easy decision, but sometimes, especially for more melee-focused martial characters, the fit isn't super obvious. Is it supposed to be a fighter, or a ranger, or a barbarian? Who's to say? What I will do at this point is pick what feels best for this character. What do I want my character to do? Do I want to dual wield and be a steel whirlwind of attacks? I'm probably going to play a flurry ranger, even if the character isn't inherently nature focused, just because in combat, that will feel good. Spellcasters get a little bit more weird when trying to pick between classes. A divine witch, a divine sorcerer, and a divine cleric are all pretty similar. There's a little bit of difference in flavor, but it'll typically come down just to preference. A lot of the time, those 3 example classes could each work for the same character, but they do all feel slightly different in gameplay, so I'll usually pick the one that I foresee myself having the most fun with. Step 6.5, because it's not quite a different step, comes subclasses, and subclasses are usually really easy. Subclasses are typically very, very diverse even amongst that character class, but sometimes they do overlap, like Precision and Flurry Rangers can be a little bit similar. Usually, I'll be honest, I go with the one that lets me roll more dice. I like rolling dice. Step 7 is very short. Feats. Similar to Ancestry feats, I try to look for flavor and power. Ideally, I have a nice balance of both. You know, if something does perfectly fit the flavor of my character, but it's completely mechanically useless for me, I'm not gonna pick it because it just won't feel like I got anything that level, but I'll try to find a nice healthy balance. I'm not just gonna pick the strongest feat just for the sake of it being the strongest. Step 8 is technically optional, but I'm gonna go over it anyway. Spells. I tackle spells, I believe, quite differently from a lot of players. I pick my spell list almost entirely for flavor. If I am playing an illusionist wizard, almost all of my spells are going to be illusion. A level 1 illusionist wizard for me would probably look like Bullhorn, Ghost Sound, Message, maybe Telekinetic Projectile, just so I have an option for offense as a cantrip. I would probably still have something like Burning Hands in my spellbook, but day to day, unless I knew I needed Burning Hands, I probably wouldn't even prepare it. My spell list is a way for me to express my roleplay through mechanic, and even if it leads to some less than optimal spell lists for certain encounters, I prefer it because it's what my wizard is good at. And the final step, step 9 for Pathfinder 2e character creation, at least for me, is gear. First thing, I always take an adventurer's pack. I am not the kind of player who looks for every little tiny thing I want to buy. I like just being able to add an adventurer's pack, subtract however much gold that is, and just be happy with my backpack, my salt, my rations, my bedroll, and get that all out of the way. The things I'm looking forward to picking are my weapon and my armor, which are actually handled completely opposite for me. My weapon is entirely flavor. I don't care if there's a technically better option for me. If I want my character dual-wielding sickles, I'm gonna dual-wield sickles even though short swords are better. However, on the complete opposite end, armor is always best in slot. Armor is very easy to describe and flavor how you want it to look, and a lower armor class is just going to inherently make you worse. At least with a weaker weapon, you could still roll well. Technically, a sickle could roll higher damage than a short sword, so it comes down to luck, but worse armor is always going to be worse armor. So there's no real reason not to pick the best armor you can wear when you can just describe it however you want. And if I have any extra money left over after buying the Adventurer's Pack armor and weapon, I'll usually actually try to find one or two mundane items and come up with a reason why they're important to my character. For example, I'm playing a halfling champion right now, and he has a small doll with a compartment in the back. I forget the name of the item, but Ray will put it up here, I'm sure. And he has a small picture of him and his family in it, you know? I just came up with the picture, I bought the doll, I put it inside, and then I flavored it. So like, yeah, he was given that doll by his little sister when he left his family, and sometimes when nobody's looking, he'll pull the picture out and look at it and be a little bit happy. And my 10th and final step for my character creation process is coming up with a name. Now, I'll be honest, I'm terrible at coming up with names on the spot that sound cool, but I found a cool strategy that works. Find a word in English or your native language that describes an aspect of your character. Then pick a real-world culture that fits your character. Now, find out what language that culture speaks and translate your native word into that language and alter that word into your name. A couple of examples I have is my rock gnome Saxamiacus. Saxum is rock in Latin. Simple as that. And my Tiansha dragon-inspired human was named Bin Joka from the Swahili words Binadamu for human and Joka for dragon. Bin Joka. So try out that strategy and let me know what you come up with. I really like coming up with names that way. It always comes out sounding pretty satisfying. But there you go, my 10-step process for how I make Pathfinder 2e characters. It's not inherently the right process, but it is how I do it, and I would love to hear how y'all do it in the comments below. I'm actually really excited for these comments, because I'm sure everyone has a different strategy for making their character, and I can't wait to hear yours. I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel. If you would like to do the same, you can click the join button below this video to join as a channel member for as little as 99 cents a month. Our members only live stream is coming up, so if you want to be there for it, pledge for at least 99 cents a month using the join button, and you can come hang out with all of us while we do something probably stupid and entertaining. That's it for me, y'all. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, no nat ones.